Time is something every human experiences, yet no one fully understands. We measure it, we chase it, we waste it, and we fear running out of it. But what if time isn't what we think it is? What if the future already exists? What if the past isn't actually gone? What if the feeling of moving through time is just an illusion created by the mind? Today, we are going to explore the strange, scientific, and philosophical paradox of time, and what modern physics suggests about the possibility that the future might have already happened. Before we can ask if the future exists, we need to define what time is. This might sound simple, but it isn't. Scientists, philosophers, and mathematicians all describe time differently. A physicist might say time is a dimension that orders events. A biologist might say time is the process of aging and change. A philosopher might argue that time is the awareness of before and after. A mathematician might treat time as a variable inside formulas describing motion. And an ordinary person might simply say that time is life moving forward. None of these answers fully explain it. The closest scientific definition we currently have is that time is the progression of events from the past to the present and into the future. But that definition contains a major assumption, that time moves in a forward direction. This leads us directly into one of the biggest puzzles in physics. The universe appears to move forward in time. Eggs break but don't UN break. Smoke disperses but doesn't reassemble. People grow older instead of younger. This forward movement is called the arrow of time, and it is closely tied to a physical principle known as entropy, which is the tendency of systems to move from order to disorder. Entropy explains why the future feels different from the past. However, when scientists zoom down to the level of atoms and fundamental particles, the laws of physics do not require time to move forward at all. The mathematics works the same whether time moves forward or backward. This raises difficult questions. Why do we remember the past but not the future? Why do we move forward and not backward? Why do we experience time as a flow when the universe itself might not? To answer these questions, we need to look at Albert Einstein, the scientist who changed everything we thought we knew about space and time. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, time is not separate from space. The two are intertwined into something called space-time. This idea leads to a radical conclusion: time does not actually flow. In the framework of relativity, past, present, and future all exist simultaneously as different locations in space-time. This concept is known as the block universe. In a block universe, your birth, your death, and every decision you will ever make already exist as fixed points. You are simply experiencing them in a sequence. Einstein hinted at this himself in a letter written after the death of a close friend, where he said that the distinction between past, present, and future is only an illusion. If this is true, then the future is not waiting to happen. It has already happened. Relativity introduced another strange revelation: time does not pass at the same rate for everyone. Time moves slower in strong gravity and slower for objects moving at high speeds. This effect is known as time dilation. Astronauts age slightly slower in orbit than people on Earth. Clocks flown around the world return with different readings compared to clocks on the ground. GPS satellites must adjust their timing because their clocks tick faster in orbit than they would on Earth. This is not theory. This is experimentally verified fact. And it means there is no universal present moment shared by everyone in the universe. Your now is not the same as someone else's now. Without a single shared present, the concept of a single shared future becomes even more uncertain. At even smaller scales, time becomes more mysterious. Quantum mechanics describes the behavior of particles smaller than atoms, and in quantum experiments, cause and effect can blur or even reverse. In the delayed choice quantum eraser experiment, actions taken in the present appear to affect measurements in the past. This does not mean humans can send messages backward in time, but it does mean that our intuitive understanding of time is incomplete. Some physicists now argue that time is not fundamental at all but something that emerges from deeper processes we do not yet understand. Another major idea is the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. According to this theory, every possible outcome of every event actually occurs, but in different branches of reality. If you decide to go left or go right, both choices happen, just in parallel universes. In this picture, the future does not exist as a single linear path. It exists as a branching tree of possibilities, all equally real. So if we ask whether the future already exists, the answer in this model is yes, but there are many futures. Other physicists explore the idea of closed time-like curves, which are loops in space-time that could allow an event to cause itself. This leads to classic time travel paradoxes, such as giving your younger self an invention that makes you famous, then traveling back to give it to yourself in the first place. In this scenario, the invention exists, but it has no true origin. It exists in a loop, where the effect becomes the cause. This suggests a universe where time may be circular rather than linear. While physics analyzes the structure of time, philosophy asks why humans experience time the way we do. Philosophers debate two main views. Presentism claims that only the present exists. The past is gone and the future has not yet happened. Eternalism claims that all points in time exist equally and we only experience a moving spotlight across them. Modern physics generally favors eternalism, but psychology introduces yet another twist. The brain does not perceive reality in real time. It processes information with delays, meaning we are always living slightly in the past without realizing it. Without memory, there would be no sense of past. Without imagination, there would be no sense of future. It is possible that time is not something outside of us, but something the brain constructs to make sense of change. If time is a construction, then the question, has the future already happened, becomes even more complicated. Some physicists propose retrocausality, where boundary conditions in the future influence the present. In this view, we are not simply pushed from the past but pulled from the future. This sounds mystical, but it arises from legitimate equations in physics. So what does all of this mean? Did the future already happen? According to relativity, yes. According to the block universe model, yes. According to many worlds, all futures already exist. According to presentism, the future is only a potential and not yet real. According to neuroscience, the only time that exists is the one your brain constructs moment by moment. And so we end with a final question: if the future already exists, are we choosing it, or are we discovering it? If every moment is already written, what does that mean for free will? And if time itself is an illusion, then what is real? The paradox of time remains one of the greatest mysteries in science and philosophy, and the answer may change the way we understand reality itself.